So what's being expressed here is this unknowable nothing that we've been talking about for the past 3 days, and and this is just a story. There is seeming connections in what was said earlier. It started with time, the timeless time, and then we continued with the second session, which is the choiceless choice, and the third one, which is the unbelief belief or whatever. So what's being expressed here is that this is the plot twist. I used to watch those Scooby Doo cartoons when I was a kid. I don't know if you've seen those, but there's always a mystery. There's a monster or something, and there seems to be a problem always. They capture the monster, and they usually have a a mask underneath it, and there's this big reveal. And at the end of it, take off this mask, and then there's this plot twist usually, and they're like, "We never expected that." Like it's usually someone that is, you a character that you did not think that could do that or something. But what's being expressed here is when you take off the mask of time, it's nothing. When you take off the mask of belief, it's nothing. When you take off the mask of choice or free will, it's nothing. It's like this elaborate story of stories within a story. And the story kind of like begins in this billions of stories that seems to appear that really has no meaning or purpose, but just as a storytelling, like an entertainment. It starts with with the beginning of time. There was this creation, the biblical way of doing that. There's this Garden of Eden, and then there's separation, the paradise lost, many variations of that one. Or there's this hero's journey. It appears in a lot of movies like The Lion King and all that kind of stuff. It's always seeking for home, always a return to paradise, a return to what is. But when the mask is pulled out, it's revealed that it's always been paradise. Nothing is lost, nothing is missing, it's always complete. There's no prison, there's no bondage, because all of that is nothing. Everything that seems to appear as an obstacle is really nothing. Everything that seems to appear as an obscure, a mask, a veil, what's behind the curtain, is always nothing. Is always the knowable nothing that seemingly is a story of separation, a story of belief systems, a story of separation, a story of time, choices, all of that. So it's like this amazing kind of like I don't know if you've seen those heist movies or something, that there's this big con, that there's this, or those grifter movies or something. There seems to be a con that's going on, but the plot twist is that there's no con because it's really nothing. Or there's this Petra covered it earlier. There seems to be this pathological liar that believes its own lies, believes in time, believes in separation, believes in identity. But when it's all seen, that it was just really an error. It's just a wrinkle. It's just a blip. It's just something that never really happened. Since this is non-happening and happening at the same time, although it doesn't have any kind of separateness to it, it can't be figured out. You can't just pull the mask and say that it's nothing, because even when thinking that it's nothing, it's a belief system. So let's suggest another plot twist here. It's a plot twist within the plot twist. That even the idea of nothing, when it's believed, is just another belief system. It's just another movie. So there's no way out of it. Because it's going to be, a con is going to be keep on running. But once that it's seen that the pathological liar or the con And there's nothing wrong with it. We just have this idea of what's wrong or right, but that's just another belief, another idea of what's wrong or right. That everything that seems to be appearing is just this elaborate nothing, the unknowable nothing, and there's nothing that's ever been separate. It's like child's play. But somewhere along the play, there's seriousness that was taken. There's this attachment that was taken. Beliefs, ideas of separation were taken really seriously. So that's why there's sometimes a laughter that happens when it's a scene that it's all really been all this time in timelessness, that there's no time. It's all been nothing. It's all been unknowable nothing, and nothing that can figure it out because it's already unknowable. So without any thoughts, in the absence of thoughts or ideas, nothing is nothing. When an infant comes out to this world, everything that's happening is just happening. It doesn't have a separation. It cries when it cries. It's hungry when it's hungry, it cries. It laughs when it's happy. There's no separation. There's no thoughts. But when this appearance of thoughts that's not really there, or the idea that there's a mind that's not really there, and this belief that things that comes from the mind, which is not really there, becomes this plot twist after plot twist after plot twist after plot twist, and it all leads back to nothing. Kind of like that Scooby-Doo, kind of like you unveil a monster and it's nothing, that's time. You unveil another monster, belief, that's nothing. So this is a sea of nothing, and whatever is occurring is also nothing. There's really nothing that has been separate. And we can talk endlessly about the concept of time, the concept of free will or choice. We can talk about the concept of belief system. But it all leads to nothing. And there's really nothing to figure out because you'll always come up with nothing. All roads, all doors leads to nothing. And it's unknowable nothing. There's no one that can surrender. There's no one that can end the seeking because that's the play that's happening. That's the con. But once you figure out the con, it could be running, but you don't believe in it anymore. So the suspension of belief happens. They're like, oh, wow. I've been had. There's not even an I that has been had. It's like, I always say this, it's kind of like, when there's this narrative, there's this narrator that seems to be running the show. It's kind of like this con artist or this pathological liar that keeps on saying the lie that believes its own lie. If you have a friend like that, like for some time, after a while, you don't believe it anymore. You're like, oh yeah, whatever, cool. It's just this running show, this running joke that there's separation. And I think it's in the Course of Miracles that somewhere along the way, we forgot to laugh, that it's really nothing. So what's behind the wall? Nothing. What's behind the curtain? Nothing. What is there to know? Nothing. It's like this ridiculousness, but there's also this normalness when there's nothing to figure out, when there's nothing that needs to be attained. When everything that's happening is just this innocence and purity, this play that nothing ever is missing, nothing is ever lost. But everybody's forgetting to laugh about it. It's all so serious, this play. There's really no the end because the play will keep on playing. It's the long con. But once it's seen that it's just playing by itself, that there's nothing that can be done about it, there's a suspension of belief. There's a collapse of ideas. There's an undoing. Since nothing is created, it's uncreating all the time. It's like a purging, but for no one. It's a free falling. If you have any questions, please go ahead.
Hey Emerson, it's Chris.
Oh, hi, Chris.
I just wanted to share something that I wrote.
Sure.
It says, everything is the same thing. This one thing, this infinite thing that is not a thing and not nothing, impossible but inevitable, unfindable but true. Just this exactly is exactly what to do.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you so much, Chris. My hat seems to disappear with this wall. I just noticed that. Thank you, Chris. Hey, Carolyn.
Hey,
Hi. Hey, Kitty.
too many flies in my flat.
Oh,
Anyway,
no.
and they keep landing on the camera,
Oh, yeah.
Well,
I thought it was a cat.
doesn't matter.
I thought it was your
No,
cat.
it's a
No,
fly.
it's a
It's a
fly.
fly. Anyway, um, what about the body? You said there is no body,
No, no body.
not
Yeah,
nobody, but nobody.
no body. Yes, yes. So in this elaborate, seemingly kind of like felt sense of realness that I am here, that I am real, that I'm moving through time and
Mm,
space. So if there's no time, there's no space. There's no I am. There's no body. There's
yeah.
this there's this sense of separation that my heart is beating, my brain is functioning. But in time, and in the absence of time again, we keep on repeating with that one. Since there is no time, how can a body begin or how can a body end? How can a heart beat? How can a brain work
Mm,
if there's no
yeah.
time? So
Mm,
it's repeated again, and I think that what's being expressed here is that everything is a story,
yeah.
including this:
Mm,
the body, the brain, the ideas, the belief, the time, everything that feels completely real. But that even that feels completely real is another story.
wow. Okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. David. Hi, David.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
So in my never-ending quest to try and understand time,
Mm-hmm.
often I come up with sort of, or try to use imagery, I guess, to come up with ways of understanding it, and that can lead
Yeah.
to analogies and stuff like that.
Yes.
And and I was just thinking there. So if you imagine the old reel-to-reel movies,
Yes.
so 24 still frames per second running across the bulb,
Yes.
and that being projected onto the movie theater screen,
Mm-hmm.
you could almost imagine this as being what's been shown on the bulb,
Mm-hmm.
but without any reel to reel existing in front or behind it.
Yes.
That's one way I could
You could you
that's
could
one
you could say it that
sort
way.
of
That's just
imagery I
another
could use.
yeah. That's just
Yeah,
another idea. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's cool. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an attempt to understand or to explain, which is kind of futile, really. And then, so yeah. So another way I was thinking before that was that it is like a still frame, and I'm thinking, yeah, but that doesn't kind of explain it satisfactorily.
No.
But then it's like, so if you ignore that initial analogy, but you do think of the old movie frames, 1 frame per second,
That's right.
or
Yeah.
24 frames a second.
Yeah.
If you imagine that this is like a still frame, because there's no timeline, there's no time for anything to be in front or behind it.
Yes.
So it leaves the question, what is this? So this could be a still frame, but then because it's non-duality and we talk in opposites, maybe it's like a still frame which is moving.
Yes,
if that makes sense.
it's basically stillness that has this illusion of movement.
Yeah,
It's
so
like a still frame, yeah.
yeah.
A still frame
So
that
I'll-
has this moving images and everything. But the moving
Yes.
images is kind of like a quark or a particle, an appearance, right? You know what we talked about
Right.
a little bit about, what did we talk about again? Quantum mechanics. You know, that kind of
Right.
movement appearance that's not really there. That's
Yeah.
just an illusion, or a quark that comes in and out, but seemingly is there, but it's not really there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a stillness, or kind of like, or we can even, you can even kind of like make an example of silence. And then in silence, there's this sound, but it's also silence. Or you can go with form,
Yeah.
the formless. What seems to appear in formless is in form is actually formless. There's no separation. Kind of like if you think of space, and this is just another analogy, right? Think of space, it is just all spaciousness, right? And then in space, you know, you have this kind of like appearance of separation or this empty space. But this is also empty. This is also space that's appearing, but it's appearing as fullness. So it's empty
Yes.
fullness. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
this
is that
emptiness seems to appear as this, or kind of like a formless
Yeah.
form. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing I was missing in my own thoughts about it being a still frame with nothing in front of it,
Yeah.
nothing
Yeah.
behind it. That still frame is moving.
Yes. Kind of like, I think I mentioned it
Yeah,
multiple times, right? This is the impossibility of this, is that this is
yeah,
stillness, and somehow it's
yeah,
movement. It's moving.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
The
I like it, and that's
impossibility. Yeah,
the
and
free fall.
it cannot be understood, right? Because it's even conceptualizing that breaks, right? It's kind of like, how?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Go
You
ahead.
have to just you get to that point, and it's the head hitting the brick wall, isn't it? You have to just
Yeah.
hold your hands up and
Yeah.
say, this cannot be taken any further, using the brain and concepts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there's nothing behind it and nothing in front of it. That's kind of the free fallness of it, would you say?
The free falling is that there is no one, and every seeming knowing is just this infiniteness, right? It's kind of like the stillness moving, right?
Right.
It's
Okay.
stillness moving is free falling because it doesn't have any landing. It doesn't have any
Yeah.
position. Or you can use that as an analogy of what we're talking about earlier, that the belief system, all belief systems that seemingly kind of like, have this strong hold, right? When that collapses, it's falling. Everything that
Yeah.
arises
Yeah.
doesn't land anymore. It
Yeah.
can't grasp anymore. It doesn't have any location anymore. It's
Yeah.
it's this falling. Everything is falling
Yeah.
because there's
Yeah.
no one that is contracted anymore. There's no one. Or I like the analogy of this open house, right? That doesn't have any doors or window. Everything that passes through. It's not a guest,
Right.
not an individual. There's
Yeah.
no separation. It's just this openness. So when people say that there's contractedness, there is a knowing, there's a belief. So I believe that I am separate. I believe that you are separate, and that's contracted. So when there's this openness, what separation? There's not even a question anymore, because that's the absence of ideas, the absence of beliefs,
Yeah.
the absence
It's
of
it.
separation. Yeah.
Yeah. It's an absolute miracle that there can even be a concept of separation.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
That's just incredible.
Yeah. So tomorrow I'm kind of like already kind of like it's like the aftermath, the languaging, all of this labeling and stuff like that is going, and that's the tricky thing, right? Because I wrote quotes, and I used to kind of like really analyze these quotes, and try to understand what's being said when it's said, when Tony or someone or anyone that I would write down, and I would analyze it, I would pause it and everything and try to understand it. But the one that's trying to understand it will never understand it, because what's being expressed is simple. So tomorrow is the discussion is going to be the simplicity, because there's this nagging kind of like feeling like, how can you say it's so simple when I can't seem to get it, or how come it's so obvious when it's just impossible.
Mm.
So the obviousness and the simplicity of this is not the understanding,
Yeah. Yeah.
not the belief. So when
Yeah.
there's this suspension of belief or understanding, it's open.
Yeah. I mean, I've spent the last 3 years trying to make sense of this message, and I'm at a place now where I
Yeah.
kind of had a fairly good grasp of it conceptually.
Yeah.
But I know, and I've known all along, that that's not going to lead to anything.
No, yeah.
But it continues anyway. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That sort of drive to understand it. If anything, it brings a bit of peace, I suppose, that you can relax a bit more. Once you get to the point where you fully understand everything conceptually, you accept it's not going to get anywhere. It's not going to lead to anything, but you can relax because you don't need to put that effort into hanging on every phrase that speakers like yourself say, and look for the meaning in it,
Yeah.
and look for something that's going to somehow create some sort of dropping away of this me.
Yes.
I mean, it's all futile, isn't it?
It is,
So there is
yeah.
something to be said in trying to understand it conceptually. And if anything, I know you speakers don't acknowledge that there is a self, and so therefore no help is offered. But I
Yes.
see no harm at all in any attempts you might make to help people conceptually understand,
Yeah.
under the proviso that it's not
Yeah.
going to lead anywhere. It's not going to get to
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah. See, this doesn't communicate to anyone. This doesn't address anyone. It's not
Yeah.
going to say you that, well, this is what you can do, David, right? Um, 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 Relax into being or something like that. Because what it does is actually really cruel here, right? Someone asked me this question, like, how come someone that seems so compassionate, like you're kind, like you, deliver this really brutal
Mm.
communication? And the response to that is that since there's no one there, I'm not gonna lie to you and say that, hey, this is what you can do. That's brutal.
Mm.
That's actually really cruel,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
It's dangling a carrot of something. This is how you can disappear. This is how you can undo
Mm.
this.
Yeah.
So the communication actually is it's subjectively or it's very kind,
Mm.
because it's not addressing the individual, and reasserting that separation. Because when the individual, there's already a belief, right? There's already a belief that it's separate. When I say that, well, you know what, you can attain this by abiding in something. So the separateness keeps on. There's someone to do something. So it
Yeah.
goes into cyclical pattern of getting it and not getting it, understanding it, and it's just, and I've been
Mm.
there. When I was seeking, it was just really frustrating because I was looking for those bliss, but somehow even in this apparent seeking, there's this glimpses that apparently happen. Someone will call me like, Emerson, how come when I did this 3 days or 4 days with you, there was this peacefulness, now it's gone? Because what seems to happen is that there is this suspension of the belief, and then there's a belief that comes in that there is someone special here. There's no one special here.
Mm.
There's no one here at all. And that's the end of the story of the character, right? Because there's really nothing. It's just automatically happening. So it's not going to address someone or compassionately, you know what I'm saying, whatever, say that, hey, you can integrate or something. It's all right. There's nothing wrong or right about that, but that's still in the dream. There's
Yeah.
just this brutal honesty here that there's just simply no one. and and then once it's seen, it's just this. It's kind of like what Zabi was saying earlier, right? I can't believe that there's no one here, but there's just this collapse of that whatever, whatever was believed before.
Mm.
So if I kind of like, if I was talking to someone and one on one and I kept on saying, well, this is, what, let's book you for 10 sessions. You know what I'm saying? I always say that there's nothing to get. And then once, sometimes there's a collapse or something, and no one collapses, but a collapse of beliefs because it keeps on hitting the wall. But once it's seen that the one that's hitting the wall is nothing hitting nothing, then nothing happens. Because nothing was offered.
Yeah.
Seeing that nothing is happening. All right. All right, David.
Thanks for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, Tej.
Hi there, Emerson.
Hello.
Very interesting discussion. There's one thing that I've always thought of conceptually again.
Yes.
You have approached this from so many angles. Every session is from a different angle.
Yeah. But it's the same, right? It's the same unknowable.
Yeah, it's the
nothing.
same. Yeah. And what struck me, actually, this has been with me for a while. At the root of it all is the fact that there is no separation.
Yes.
If you just think of that
Yeah.
there is no separation, it follows that there cannot be an individual, there cannot be a belief, there cannot be anything else.
Yes.
Because there is no separation.
Yes. And then the last session that I did is the belief of that, right? So there's this mother belief, right, of separation. That's the root of it, the separation.
Absolutely.
And it's kind of like, this is just a story, right? Because there's no root. In this story, what seems to appear is that singular belief of separation. And that singular belief of separation seems to branch out to many things. Time, it's supported by time, it's supported by supported by the illusion that there's separation, supported by beliefs, and then free will. So it's like many different angles, but it's the same. It's the same. The root is the same as the branches. It's not separate. And then that idea, once it's dislodged, the tree is cut off. You're like, oh, so because it's all stemming into this singular, this singular rooted, kind of like really heavily rooted, kind of like belief system. Once it gets chopped, no one chops it. Once it's seen that it's really not there, then there's a collapse of time, separation, collapse of
even the time thing, that was very difficult for me to understand, that you are saying that there is no time, but you are saying that in time, right?
Yes.
So it's difficult to grasp mentally, but if you think that there is no separation, it follows that there can be no space and no time.
And it's all as I said, it's all kind of like a house of cards, right? If you take if you take time, how can there be separation? How can there be beliefs? How can there be, because all of this seems to have a process, how can there be an individual with beginning and end? How can there be someone moving through time and space? If you take the apparent belief of anything, then all beliefs crumble. Belief in time, belief in it's the same thing. It's the same nothing. It's the same unknowable nothing. And that's what's this is a very repetitious, 12 sessions, 4-day thing, but it's looking at nothing at different angle, because if you pull out the wrinkle, it's all nothing. So all of these wrinkles.
And I liked your discussion with David on, I appreciate what he said.
Yes.
That even understanding it conceptually kind of relaxes you, and that may help. I mean, not. We never know. But the point is, what I was getting, for me, the root of the thing is that there cannot be any separation. Once there is no separation, everything collapses.
That's it. Yeah. It's,
right?
It's like the original sin, or the bite of the apple.
Yeah.
That's basically
that's what it was. Actually,
that's what it was. Yeah. It's that separation. I should have done my introduction. That was what I was trying to express. Is the root of this is the story of separation, and it's a long con game, right? It's like this elaborate It's
Yeah.
elaborate, like story, story behind a story, but it's actually just this singular mistake that's not really a mistake because it didn't even happen, that there's been a separation.
Yeah.
Nothing has been separate.
Yep. And
Yeah.
even if you think about it logically, separation must have started at some point, because
Yes.
even if you look at it scientifically, it all, let's say, started with Big Bang or whatever you
Yeah,
call it,
yeah.
right? At one point, there was no separation.
Yes.
So the separation
So
has to be an illusion.
yes, exactly, because there is this suggestion, in a narrative, because everything that is appearing right now is time, belief, narrative, story, apparent, individuals, is the illusion. It's the nothing. It's the separation. So once that is seen that this is an elaborate nothing, a knowable nothing,
Yeah.
then what's left?
Yep. The
Nothing.
separation has to be artificial. It's
Yeah,
just a made up construct.
that's right. Yeah.
And it's at the root of all of the things.
And then if you even can like go further, even a separation is actually empty. It's really nothing. So what it's like it's unthinkable. That's
Mhm.
why it's so simple, because you don't even have to think about it, because there's no you to think about it. You don't even have to understand it, because there's no understanding this. That's why it keeps on, getting expressed that this is really simple. But the simplicity becomes a web again, right? Why is it so simple and everything? Because the separation of what simplicity is, or the separation of what is being said here, that there must be a you that's saying that's simple here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there again, it's the separation that's
There you go.
causing it,
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
The
It
separation is creeping in. Again,
yeah.
that's the root of the problem.
It is. It is. It's kind of like this lie that's
Yeah.
believed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Good discussion.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Thank you. This and that.
Emerson.
Hi.
Hey.
Hey.
Um, okay, so not really going anywhere with this, but let's see where it
Yeah,
goes.
yeah, sure.
And just an observation, casual observation. Get up in the morning, and then there's like a hunger, physical hunger, but really a conceptual hunger. And so, kind of the day, if there was a bird looking at all this, like it goes in YouTube and it gets all this information, and then at the end of the day, it's like, oh, whoa, I'm tired and this. And the next day it repeats. And then I noticed that I'm on the phone all the time,
Yeah.
and the partner who can hear this is also on the phone all the time, and I think she's looking at maybe different things that I'm looking at. But I'm just kind of, and I haven't heard this spoken about with anyone, and because it's like a social accepted thing to be on the phone continuously, or maybe some people a little less, there's
Yeah.
degree, and I haven't heard anyone mention it. I'm just wondering, this is a silent, because I'm looking what's behind it. Why am I on this? Why am I on this? And it's the same energy. I'm seeking concepts like food, and I'm like just devouring, and then it's like so. And it's not really talked about, it's accepted. It's like if you go to a bar and everyone's drinking, it's no big deal. But if you're at home drinking and then somebody else comes in and says, hey, you have problems. But there's this social acceptance of concept consuming, it seems.
Yeah, of course. Because in this, so go ahead.
So I'm wondering, there must be something running that this character isn't aware of, because it's so normal and because no one really points it out or anything. Some invisible possession of some sort. Not possession, but there's something itching to even this to get this, and you're like, there's nothing to get.
Yeah. See again. See what kind of like what was being discussed the prior session, that this belief system of something happening keeps on taking many different forms. You were just talking about that. There's a belief of separation. There's the belief of something that, you know what I'm saying? But once it's seen that that's just noise, it doesn't really mean anything. But the story keeps on running, keeps on getting powered by the belief of something, and it just keeps on branching. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. So there's something that's like
There's something missing. There's something that I have to, you know what I'm saying? There's something lacking. So that something lacking is kind of like what we're talking about earlier again with Ted, just the idea of separation. There's no one actually doing any of this. There's really nothing happening. There's just this idea that something's happening and a belief that I'm a body moving through time and space. That I'm stuck in this whatever you were mentioning. Yeah. And that's just the stuckness, right? The stuckness idea in this openness.
right. Because if there's no consuming of concepts or being on the phone or learning, then what?
Yeah.
The-
Yeah. Again, you know what? Let's go back to what we were saying in the first session. There's no time. So there's no really consuming of concepts. It's an illusion. So if there's no time, how can there be concepts? If there's no time, how can someone consume the concepts? Another elaborate show, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for the emptiness.
It's just all empty. Thank you. Thank you, this and that.
That picture behind looks like Elvis has not left the building. He hit another wall.
What's behind the wall is another wall. I don't know if you noticed. There's no escaping this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anita. Hi, Anita.
Hi, Emerson.
Hi, Hi, Anita.
Hi. I
Beautiful.
just want to. Yeah. So this is
Wow.
along the River the Waal. Yes, that's very close to my house. It's
Oh,
only
wow.
it's
Next
less than
retreat
10.
at Anita's.
Yeah. You're all welcome to come.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
And then Petra's. Beautiful
Yes,
spaces.
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, Petra is also beautiful. Yeah. So thank you, Emerson.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for showing me the beach. It's beautiful. Robert.
Oh, I'm unmuted. Hi, Emerson.
Hi.
Is the reason I can't find, or I struggle to find motivation to improve myself because there isn't one?
Yes.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Wow.
Yeah.
No way. I was thinking I was gonna get caught with like that's all the story, but that's wow.
Well, everything is a story, including this, right? But
Yeah.
there's no one there motivating anything. There's no separate. There's nothing behind everything. So yes, yeah, because there's no one there to improve. It's just what is.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
I used to be I used to devour books before, kind of like, in spirituality. I used to devour book about self-improvement. I used to do, go to workshops and everything. It was all about me. Right? So self-improvement is just the reaffirmation that I am separate. Which is nothing wrong, right, about that.
Yeah.
So it's fruitless.
Yeah.
But if there's a need to self-improve, then that's what's happening too. There's nothing wrong or right about that.
Thank you.
Thank you. There's a question here from Corey. Corey, I'm still feeling a bit shocked from Vera's Corey comment that there is no unconditional love or love full stop. You can also say that there's only unconditional love and there's no unconditional love. Same statement.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I really had it in my head, okay, there's nothing, but the
Yeah.
nothing is unconditional love.
Yeah. So,
of
so that's what I
just
mean by beliefs, right? You know what I'm saying? When it becomes an understanding or a belief system, then it becomes this attachment to ideas, right? Does that make any sense?
okay.
So
Yes, yeah. Mm.
unconditional love is it's always been expressed this way, cannot be understood. It cannot be comprehended because it appears in everything. It's there's a romanticized version of unconditional love, which is compassion, all kind of stuff like that, but also includes war and disaster and chaos. That's what. But it's in
Yeah.
everything. Yeah. So you can
And
also say that there's no unconditional love in the definition of what is being meant. And you can also say all unconditional love, same statement, the same thing as there is no death, and this is all death. Yeah.
right.
Again, these
So
are just words pointing to the
uh,
wordless. Yeah.
so it's not just there's no unconditional love, there's no love. Everything is unconditional love. Everything
Yeah.
is
It's the
love.
same statement. Yeah.
That is just a right, that's a word.
Yes. Yeah. It's just a
That's just
word.
a word.
It's
That's
just
just a
it's
word.
just a word, or people can interchange that. They'll call it emptiness is the same as unconditional love. Um, Nothing is the same as unconditional love. Death is
Yeah,
the same as unconditional
right,
love, and
right.
you're going. That's what's going to be expressed tomorrow is the languaging of this, right? There's this kind of like the aftermath because there seems to be kind of like some confusion, you know what I'm saying, with languaging and everything, and this is just a clarification that everything is unknowable nothing, and it can get really caught up, and this is just a story as well of again, it's this idea of separation. Well, you know what, I want that unconditional love, but everything is already, or there's no unconditional love. That's why it's the same statement.
Finding that one just a little bit difficult.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I did not use unconditional love for quite a while, as a speaker, because when I was a spiritual teacher, my bio said Emerson is a teacher of unconditional love, and I was teaching it. I was teaching compassion and all that kind of stuff. But once it was seen that unconditional love is the wholeness, the evil, the murder, the love, it can't be really defined. It's appearing as everything. It's in the opposites, and it's in everything in between.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I do. I see that. I hear that, and
yeah,
that's come up on these sessions
yeah,
this
yeah,
yesterday. I think.
yeah,
I think it's sort of destroying something. Yeah, a thought that
yeah,
I've
yeah.
had for a very long time, and I find a bit uncomfortable with that.
Yes,
No,
this is really confronting, right? Because it challenges all of those belief systems or thoughts about
yeah,
what is, right? And when I kept on hitting the wall, it was almost kind of like, it's almost like breaking a bone, right? It's kind of like, ouch, you know what I'm saying? It was like,
yeah,
what do you mean there's no hope? What do you mean that everything that I think is not true? What do you mean that this is just all belief? It's just fairy tale. It's just all a make believe. So it just kept, it could not believe it because it had this root of idea of separation, the belief of separation. And so it's kind of like it was really painful, and then it was seen that it was really nothing. Even that painful is just another belief,
mm,
because the root of that pain comes from this, I'm not right. But there's not even you to be right or wrong, and to go further, there's no right or wrong. And that just collapses what seems to hold on to that believer, or that kind of like system of what is good or right, or this, what I believe or not. So it's a really challenging communication because it 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 goes for the jugular that there's no one here.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's been quite good, quite a big one. And I sometimes say my daughter's been going through, big trauma, and I constantly say to her, love is behind all of it. Love is, and I'm kind of questioning that now, whether I
Yeah.
should even say that.
You can also there's nothing wrong or right about saying about that. It's just
No,
yeah, it's just what is, you know what I'm saying? You can also say that you're not going to say your daughter that death is behind everything.
Mm.
You can also say that there's what I usually say is there's behind everything is nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a
It-
hard statement to swallow,
That,
right? Because
yeah.
because
that
that's
would
like that's quite painful. It's like, what do you
that wouldn't go down very well,
No, no. So you can use whatever, and it's just what I'm not going to say to my mom. Well, that's really nothing, mom. If my mom tells me that I love you, and I'll say that that really means nothing. How's that gonna go?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Those words are empty.
Right. So
Yeah.
if I say
I'll use another kind of like an analogy. It's like being of this world but out of this world, because there's really no one here, in but not here, right? It's kind of like there's a playing along as if this is really happening. There's freedom in that. There's no choice. It's playing by itself anyway, right? So when my mom says I love you, and I'll be like, I love you more.
mm,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
play,
yeah. But there's this felt sense of realness to that one as well, right? I do love my mom, but there's no one here.
yeah, yeah.
It's that's what I'm saying, is this not here but here, happening but not happening. There's no separation.
When I say you're being held by love, you're being held in love, whatever's happening.
Yeah.
That's actually a separation, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's her and the trauma, and then there's the love, which is something else. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever, what, if in the dream, what I'm saying, if that brings comfort to what, there's no others,
Oh,
what I'm
good.
saying, then you
Okay.
can say that, and there's nothing wrong or right about that. You're not going to say that this is really all nothing. Again, say
Got it. Yeah.
the thing about this, and this is just really funny that I always say, it's kind of like Fight Club, when the first rule about non-duality is you don't talk non-duality. There's no one to talk to about non-duality anyways. There's no one there. But you're not going to tell your daughter that there's no one there.
No, 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 no.
There was a parent. This is just a story again, that I could not even talk, because I was like, this just really kind of like muddying. This is already clear. But you still have to talk, in the dream. You know what I'm saying? There's no one in the dream, but there's a dream. That's what's being meant here. This is a dream, but there's no one here. In the dream, there's seemingly one, but there's really no one. There's just a character. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I was going to say that's helpful to me. But yeah, I really get what you're saying, about your mum and what comes up. It doesn't matter. You just appear to give comfort, however.
Yeah. And it's really earnest, and it feels completely, true. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be, you know what I'm saying? It's not like you're lying, because there's no one lying. It's what's coming up. There's this apparent love that's coming up, although it's empty at the same time.
Although there's no love.
Yeah, it's empty. It's a dream. Yeah. All right, Corey.
Thank
Love you.
you.
Okay. Bye.
Love you too.
Was it Anita or Chris? Hey, Chris, I like your hat.
Thank you. I got it in Hawaii.
Nice.
Yeah. So basically, I wanted to explore this. So you said unknowable nothing, or like unknowable this, but it's like this is knowable experientially. Like I know this specific configuration of texture, but it's unknowable conceptually because it's unresolvable, and so it's already gone, and so it's unknowable.
Yes, there's when I was talking earlier in the belief, right? So all of this reality, or this perception of reality is a belief system that's unknowable. It's really nothing, because there's no one behind it. That's what's being expressed. But I understand what you're saying.
Well, I can also say, like, I am this here now specifically, and I don't know what I am.
You can also say that, yeah. But that cancels each other, right?
Well, there's no negation. Just exploring, I guess.
Yeah. Thank you. Love it. I'm gonna spotlight Anita because I like the beach. Hey, Ollie.
Hi, Emerson.
Oh, sorry, Ollie. I'll get to you. Hey, Anita.
Yeah. Something like so the stillness is always there, even if there is a lot of noise. It's always there.
Yeah, it never
So
leaves. It can never leave because it's still.
so sometimes
it can't move because it's still.
yeah. So sometimes I say you've been carried by this stillness, and yeah, it's a kind of a story, but it's
really like romantic though. I like that.
Very
it's
much.
Really romantic.
Yeah, I'm romantic.
Carry me, stillness. Stillness, drive for me. There's no separation from this and stillness. This is also stillness, is what's being expressed. So when there's an idea that there's a separate stillness that's appearing, you know what I'm saying? Stillness is this movement.
Yeah, there is no separation at all.
Yeah. So it's moving stillness.
There. Yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Much love.
Much love. Ollie. Hi, Ollie.
Yeah, I don't have a specific question. I just wanted to establish the fact
it's empty now?
Nothing, that there's nothing to get. Yes?
Yeah.
Great.
What time is it there now, wherever you are?
I'm sorry?
What time is it there, wherever?
It's 9 p.m.
Oh, wow.
Pretty dark.
Wow. Thank you for going hardcore, apparently.
Yes. So, yeah.
Yeah,
really
it's just
nothing.
Yeah, it's really empty. It's just when all the concepts, and you know, when you shine a flashlight to concepts, beliefs, it's really nothing. It's like, oh, there's nothing. Concepts are empty, beliefs are empty, separation is empty. They're just ideas, right? So this is almost kind of like someone calls this kind of like an interrogation of nothing, and until it fesses up that it's really nothing, because there's this running idea that this is really something, that something's happening here, that someone's special here. There's no one here. There's nothing special here. There's no one there. There's nothing special here. So when all of the masks are pulled out, it's nothing. I made this meme. I wanted to share. You guys want to share a meme? Just a second. I don't know if I can. Where is it? Just a second. I was thinking of that Scooby-Doo, and I was laughing at this this Scooby-Doo thing. I hope the reference. Where is it? And it's just a poorly made meme, like all memes. Oh, that's not the one. Sorry. Where did it go? Bear with me here for a moment, okay? Oh, I can't find it. It's all right. Oh, I see it now. Sorry. Okay, you guys want to see it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
It's just a really funny. It's just a really funny meme.
Yeah.
It's really nothing.
But why is there someone? There's nothing.
Well, that's the appearance of nothing, is appearing as someone. Huh?
Yes.
All right. It's really nothing. It's all nothing. It can't. That's just a poor attempt to express what is being expressed. I thought it was just really funny because I was thinking of Scooby Doo when I was a kid. You know, I would get really, really shocked. You know, it's like, oh, although it's obvious. You know what I'm saying? It gets really obvious once you've watched like 3 episodes of Scooby Doo. It's always a plot twist or something. Oh, thank you, thank you. I thought it was a poor attempt of making a meme. So, as a closing statement, all that there is this. There's nothing outside of this, and all that there is this unknowable nothing. Everything that appears is nothing. There's no separation in nothing. How can there be? If there's nothing, how can there be anything, any beliefs, any time, anyone? And it's interchangeable. If there's no time, there's no beliefs, there's no separation. If there's no beliefs, it just keeps on going. But it always, always is revealed. It doesn't even have to reveal because once it's seen, the sameness that seems to happen, the uniform, it's very uniform. it's very obvious that the time, the character, the simplicity of this is that once it's seen, it cannot be unseen. But no one ever sees this. Thank you so much, everyone. Um, thank you so much. Tomorrow, the meeting starts at 12 p.m. Toronto time, and 2 90-minute meetings. It's going to wrap up whatever can't be wrapped up. Thank you so much, everyone. There's a breakout room at the end of this.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Emerson.
Thank you, Emerson.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Emerson.
you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. There's a breakout
Thanks,
room,
Emerson.
and I might DJ tomorrow at the end. Dance party.
Thirty.